Okay, hi everyone. I am talking about the proficiency certificates that we have, two of them that we have here at the college. We have the medical assistant and the ophthalmic technician proficiency certificate programs. So for medical assistants, the goal of the program here at CCP is to prepare you to be an entry-level medical assistant to be able to work in an ambulatory setting, like a clinic or a doctor's office or some sort of group practice where maybe you are floating from different offices. And the hope is that you will be a multi-skilled allied health team member and that you'll be able to perform a variety of administrative and clinical procedures. So administrative includes anything from making appointments to ordering supplies, to greeting patients and escorting them back. And then under the clinical stance, being able to update patient charts, taking blood pressures, potentially doing some basic lab skills like what's done with phlebotomy, and then certainly taking prescription refills, and even to a certain extent, relaying test results that have been communicated by a physician. So students in the medical assistant proficiency cert will gain a basic knowledge of communication skills. You'll learn that through age 116, medical terminology, which is age 103, anatomy and physiology, which is our bio 108, and then lab procedures, which come through the phlebotomy course, and then administrative procedures and patient care techniques, which are covered in the actual medical assistant courses. If you complete the proficiency cert, you will be able to use these courses to continue your education and obtain an associate degree in healthcare studies. So this proficiency cert, while it can stand alone, we strongly recommend that you pair it with the healthcare studies degree and go on to complete that degree. The certificate is offered at the Northeast Regional Center. That is the only campus that offers the medical assistant program up there at the Northeast Regional Center. The ophthalmic technician certificate program prepares students to become ophthalmic assistants, and ophthalmic assistants work under the supervision of optometrists or ophthalmologists. So optometrists are our folks who we see at lens crafters, Walmart, Sterling Optical, any of those places, Four Eyes. And they prescribe contact lenses and glasses, and our ophthalmologists are physicians. They have a medical degree, and they're the folks who can perform surgical procedures to your eyes. And so our ophthalmic technicians or assistants work under the supervision of either an optometrist or an ophthalmologist, and they help by providing patient care for some of the different eye and vision related clinical functions. They take patient histories, they perform the pre-testing for any of you who may have gone to have contacts or glasses prescribed for you. You were probably seen by an ophthalmic technician before being seen by the eye doctor. They also conduct the vision examinations. They do provide patient education, such as using eye drops to keep your lens wet, and they perform basic front office duties, such as answering the telephone and medical billing and coding as well. Upon graduation from this program, you can work in a wide variety of optometry practices, and all of our graduates who have finished the ophthalmic technician program are currently employed. So you can work in ophthalmology practices, optical dispensaries where the glasses are actually made, like Lens Crafters tends to have dispensaries attached to them as well, optical labs, and then certainly in private businesses and pharmaceutical companies as well. This program right now is offered at the Northwest Regional Center because of its proximity to the Eye Institute. And there is an on-site ophthalmic lab right there at the campus. And then again, because of that proximity to the Eye Institute of Salus University, students are able to go over there to complete any clinical experiences that may need to occur within a course. So they're able to combine their lectures and labs because they are so close to the Eye Institute. There's some ongoing discussion about relocating the program to the Northeast campus, but for right now it is housed at the Northwest Regional Center. So just some basic information. How much can I make? How long will it take? And when can I start? How much can you make as a medical assistant? $30,000 to $40,000 per year. That's really dependent on where you take your job. Certainly if you're working in a private doctor's office versus maybe in a hospital setting, the salary would be slightly different. For our ophthalmic technicians, they make approximately $35,000, and that's really based on our most recent graduates, where most of them are working at the Eye Institute. How long will it take? To become a medical assistant, it takes approximately 1 year. Because of COVID, it's taking a little bit longer right now for students because we have sort of like a backup with the phlebotomy course, but it takes about 1 year. For the ophthalmic technician program, it is 1 semester. However, it is 1 semester of full-time studies. So you will be in classes, if you're in the ophthalmic technician program, Monday through Thursday from approximately 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And that, you know, there's a little bit of padding on either side of that. It could go as long as 3 p.m. And if they need to go into Salis, into the Eye Institute, it could be a slightly longer day, but you should be prepared for studies Monday through Thursday, full-time studies where it is using up the vast majority of your day. They do not have classes on Fridays in the ophthalmic technician program. So when can I start? For the medical assistant program, you can start in the fall or the spring. And the same thing with the ophthalmic technician, you can start in the fall or the spring. The caveat to that is the medical assistant program is still accepting applications for this coming spring, so spring 21. However, the ophthalmic technician program is not. You would not be able to apply for the ophthalmic technician program until fall of 21. So you could certainly submit an application, but it will not be considered until fall of 21 because we do not have a current class for the ophthalmic technician program. So looking at admissions, both program certificates require a high school diploma or a GED. They both require demonstration of readiness for English 101 and Foundational Math 118. And then the grade point average for the medical assistant is a 2.0, and the grade point average for the ophthalmic technician is a 2.5. Obviously, the rigor for the ophthalmic technician program is a little bit higher, which is why the GPA is slightly higher. Again, the focus is that's a 1 semester program, and it is full-time studies. So the course sequence, the medical assistant program requires that you complete 26 credits, and the ophthalmic technician program is 16 credits. In the MA program, within those 26 credits, a few of those classes do double into the healthcare studies program, which is why it's strongly encouraged that you go on to complete the associates in healthcare studies, because more than likely you will have already taken AH-103 for medical terminology, the AH-116, which covers your communications, and then the Bio 108. You do have the option of taking Bio 109 and 110 as a substitute for 108, but notice that I said and. You cannot take Bio 109 in place of 108, and you cannot take Bio 110 in place of 108. You must take 109 and 110 if you plan on substituting for 108. So you have the option there. If you've already taken 109 and 110, you can certainly receive a waiver and you won't need to take Bio 108, or you could just take Bio 108 on its own. Again, the MA program typically takes about a year, but if as a student it takes you a little bit longer to progress through the Foundational Math 118 and the English, then it could prolong the amount of time that it takes you to complete that certificate program. And then under the ophthalmic program, all of those courses, again, are standalone, so they do not double into the healthcare studies program. It is a standalone proficiency certificate. The expectation for most students who go into that certificate program is that they will go out to work once they've completed that certificate. A little bit of a change for anyone who may have already explored the medical assistant program. Effective spring 21, there are now 2 new courses that have been added to the MA program, and those new courses are AH-118 and AH-121. So if you are starting in the program effective spring 21, you will need to take those 2 courses. The AH-118 course is a seminar course where you will receive your CPR certification. So you'll receive the American Heart Association BLS for healthcare providers, which is what is needed in order to work and in order to go out on your clinical. And you will need to complete the AH-121, which is a clinical experience. It is 240 hours and typically done in 6 weeks of full-time clinical externship, so 40 hours a week for 6 weeks. Both of these courses are slated to run in the summer, where AH-118 will run in summer 1 and AH-121 will run in summer 2. So if you're interested in applying for either one of these programs and you meet the requirements for admission based on one of the earlier slides, what you need to do is send an email to me. My email is listed as jllewis@ccp.edu. Please note the email, I have a double L in there. A lot of students write just J. Lewis and I never received that email. So just watch the spelling on that. You need to include the following: your full name, your CCP email address, and it is preferred that you contact me from your CCP email address because of spam settings. If you write from an alternate email, I might not get that either. Your J number, because that tells me all about you, and the semester that you'd like to start. Once you send me that information, I will send an application to you. And once you complete the application, you should return it via email back to me. And then it takes approximately 2 to 3 weeks for me to process an application, because what I need to do from that point is verify your transcript and your grades and make sure that you meet the criteria for admission. And then once I've processed your application, you'll receive an email from me with the next steps. And typically the next steps are you need to get started on getting your health records prepared, because you will need to upload your immunizations into a portal. And I'll give you access to that portal for you to upload your immunizations. You will need a criminal history and background check done. And the college takes care of all of that as long as you update all of the information into the portal. So it's not an overnight turnaround. I think some students expect that once they submit an application, they're in and they can start classes the next day. There are several steps that need to be completed, and we do those sort of sequentially. But the first step is to contact me and state that you are interested with this information. That's all I have.
Okay, so we have time, of course, for questions, but I'd like to ask the students to leave their name and their instructor's name in the chat as a way to sign in. And let us know if you have any questions, either by unmuting yourself or sending the question up through the chat. Jocelyn, I have a question that I heard from students as they were completing their last assignment. A lot, or quite a few, were interested in a certificate as a stepping stone. So is that a possibility, something like medical assistant, to get some experience in the field and then perhaps go back to study for nursing later?
Yeah, it's a great way to seek employment while you're waiting on that admission opportunity. It certainly strengthens the application. Nothing like that would hurt your application for a nursing program. It shows that you have some experience, especially if you're a student who has grades that are sort of on the borderline, and an admissions committee has to make a decision on, you know, are you able to do the work? I tell students quite often, you know, if they have a GPA that is sort of questionable, and you know, this committee is going to be left up to making a decision on, you know, do I take a student who has, you know, this pretty perfect GPA, or do I take a student who has a lower GPA but some healthcare experience? Sometimes the committee will lean towards that individual.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions from students or faculty?
I see something in the chat. Oh, they're writing their names. Okay.
Yeah. The names are coming in. So just to repeat, you said medical assisting will have a new spring class, but ophthalmic will not.
Correct.
Oh,
Ophthalmic will start in the fall.
can they express interest in that program now, though, even though it's
Absolutely. I would encourage students to do that now because they can get started on the healthcare application and the criminal history and background check. And sometimes that part of the process actually delays a start date. So I'm sure
okay?
if they're interested in that, just go ahead and send the email. I'll send the application back and they can start uploading their immunization information.
And I guess lastly, what types of job settings have the medical assistants been hired for?
So most medical assistants are in private practices, doctors' offices, because we're in Philadelphia, which is like, you know, the healthcare guru of the world there. Jefferson, Penn, all of those hospitals, they all hire medical assistants because all of the physicians that are affiliated with them have private practices or group practices. And so more often than not, when you go into your PCP's office, before you see your physician, you're most likely seen by a medical assistant, that person who's taking your height, your weight, your blood pressure, your pulse ox, and getting that, you know, sort of why are you here today information. That's typically a medical assistant. It is most times not a nurse, and a lot of people think that it is a nurse. It's not. If you look at their badge, it usually says MA.
Okay. I have more, just my last question. And the medical assistants can take the exam to become certified after our program?
Yes, they can. While their program is not accredited, you are eligible to take the national certification exam. And employers simply want to ensure that you've passed an exam. They're not, for MAs, because there's a shortage and they're in such dire need, they're not looking for accredited programs. You just need to have taken an exam.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. I think that's it. Thank you so much,
Sure.
Jocelyn. That was really good. And I'm going to post this recording up or send it out to all of the instructors. Okay, we do have a last question that snuck in here. I want to understand, is this a certificate program or a degree? I'm not sure. There are two that we spoke about, but I'll let you answer that for each.
Right. So the medical assistant and the ophthalmic technician are both certificate programs. They are considered to be proficiency certificates. And so if you were to apply to either one of those programs, you would have sort of that indication on your degree that says, you know, you have a healthcare studies degree and you also have a proficiency certificate in medical assisting. Ophthalmic technician, it does not pair with the degree, so you would simply have indicated on your transcript that you completed the proficiency certificate as an ophthalmic technician. Most students who complete that program do it in the one semester and then they go to work. Those are students who are looking more for a direct route of, you know, school to work. They're not looking for the associates and then potentially transferring to a four-year institution or anything like that. They're looking for the route that takes them on the path out to employment. Both can end in employment, but the medical assistant one can also end with a degree in healthcare studies.
And the other question from Tatiana, would you recommend this even if a student applied to the nursing program already?
So Tatiana, I'm not sure if you've applied and been accepted to the nursing program or if you've applied and you're waiting to hear back. If you have applied and accepted, then certainly you should go through the nursing program. But if you are sort of in that holding pattern where you're waiting to hear if you've gotten in, You could certainly submit the application, and then, if you don't need to matriculate into the classes for the medical assistant because you've been accepted at some point to nursing, then we could always just rescind your application.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, no last questions sneaking in here. So you have Jocelyn's contact information if you think of something later. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to end the meeting. So thank you for attending. Oh, okay, we do have one last one.
Okay. Will this course be offered online? That's a great question. And unfortunately, no. These are clinical style classes. So the medical assistant courses right now, they are currently meeting at the Northeast campus. Now, granted, they are not meeting all day, every day because we are in an environment with COVID and we need to maintain social distancing and spatial distancing, and we need to, ensure that everyone has PPE and that we're all safe. So currently the medical assistant classes are running like 1 or 2 days a week every 2 or 3 weeks. So they're not meeting as often as they would if this were sort of a regular semester. But you do need to meet in person. A lot of the content is delivered online. The lecture material is certainly delivered online. But the laboratory exercises, those have to be done in person. There's no way to learn how to take a blood pressure or how to do phlebotomy sticks and venipunctures. You can't practice those skills in an online environment. You have to be present with an instructor and with another student in order to gain that hands-on experience. They're learning how to check vision, they're learning how to check hearing, and that just can't be simulated in an online environment. The ophthalmic technician program, again, that's a hands-on clinical program, so that will run face-to-face as well in the fall, with some of their lecture content being probably delivered online, but certainly the laboratory clinical experience will have to be face-to-face in the classroom.
All right. That sounds good. And I know we had a late arrival. I have this recorded and I will send it out to your instructors to post so you'll be able to listen. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Great job, Jocelyn. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was great. See you tonight,
Okay.
Jocelyn, and
All right.
Melissa, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.